This is Amy from Chillin' with Amy Paint and Canvas. Hey, I'm really excited to be with you tonight. I'm going to show you how to do the Sweet Summer painting tonight. Um, this is painted on wood, but tonight we're going to paint it on canvas, or I'm not sure, you may have picked wood. So I'm going to show you how to do this tonight. So I'm really excited about that. I love doing paint parties and can be booked to bring them to you. So if you ever have that need, I would love to help you out with that. So tonight I want to show you how to do this. So we're going to try to get started. I'm going to move this on down here. There we go. Set that up. First thing we're going to do is try to get everything together that you've got. If you've had the chance to paint your background on your canvas or your wood or whatever you're going to be using tonight, that's great, because then it's going to be nice and dry and we can go ahead and trace on the pattern of the picture there. If not, don't worry, you can always go ahead and put the picture on, paint it, and then do your background afterwards. It's just harder to do that afterwards. So if you haven't printed this off, this is a tracer, and this was it's on my page. You'll see I added that on there. The picture, you just copy it and you can save it, and then you can just print it off on your printer. If you're doing an 8x10, you want to choose an 8x10 photo copy so that you get about the size that you need. If not, it's going to print out a little bit bigger, like the size of your paper, or if you got bigger paper, of course. If it is a little bit big, it's okay. You can always just move it around to where you want things to be, and just kind of trim it up a little bit if you want. So the first thing we're going to do is get your stuff together. We're going to get your tracer, and I got a piece of carbon paper here, and I just kind of lay it there. You don't have to cover the whole thing. If you want to do certain sections, you can do that, but I just kind of start where I'm going to put it, get it kind of lined up, and you'll need a pencil, of course, to trace this out. You can lay this out on your canvas, and I just kind of bent my paper over so that I know where my edges are, because I want to make sure my summer gets on there good. So just kind of line it up where you want it. I kind of crease it a little bit. So then you take your pencil, put your carbon paper underneath there, or graphite paper, and just start tracing the picture. Now, if you're doing it on canvas, you don't want to push too hard to push through that canvas, but just enough to trace over that you're going to get your picture on there. And don't worry if it's not perfectly neat or anything like that. Just it doesn't matter, because you're going to paint over it anyways. If you got an eraser, you can always erase it too, but just start tracing over. Now I just started up with my flower, just because I wanted to make sure that I got that on there. And it's okay if it goes off the edge a little bit. You don't, you're going to run off the edge, that's fine. The original painting of this I did on the wood there was a lot bigger. It's more like 11 by 14, something like that. And you could do this, you could actually make it bigger and print it off in sections, and then just kind of glue them together or tape them together. And I'm just coming down and starting to trace out my watermelon. Well, one of the things you can do also is if you don't like maybe the way the words are, you can always change them, or you can change the position of them. Like maybe I might turn it when I go to do that, so that maybe I want my words to go sideways or slanted or something instead of straight. And you can do that. You can either just turn your paper and, before you go and trace that section, or you can go ahead and cut your tracer, and then you can move it around. And like I say, if you run off the little edges a little bit, that's okay, because we're just going to paint that over onto the edge. If you want to take a little peek, you can kind of see there that it's tracing there. Just if you wanted to make sure that it's tracing okay. Like I said, don't worry about it too much. Don't have to be perfect. One of the things, everybody take a second, raise your hand and say, I, in your name, Amy, will not judge my painting or anybody else's painting until the end of this session. That's just like 5 minutes before the session before the painting even comes together to look what it's like it's supposed to. So no judging. This is a judge-free zone. Now down here I have the little blackberries. Now you can trace every single little berry there, or you can just trace the outline of the whole thing, because you're going to end up, you know, kind of putting them back in anyhow. But I'll just go ahead and trace them out. This is something I did it freehand when I originally did it, and you can certainly do that as well. The tracer is just a lot easier. I've had a lot of people asking me to maybe, you know, do a little more stencil here and there and some tracers, and so that's kind of why I wanted to do this with you. Make it easy and fun for you. So all you have to worry about really is just painting in the colors, and you'll have your beautiful summer picture. And what makes you feel more like summer than watermelon? And blackberries, of course. Or maybe you like peaches. You can even add, like, if you wanted to, like some little cherries there. You can add that. It's whatever, it's your painting, so you know, you can make it however you want. I'm going to go ahead and trace out my little bee here. Just kind of made him a cute little bee, little bumblebee there, just to make it kind of sweet. Now this is where I say I'm going to move my words, because I want mine maybe to come over just a little bit. Make sure I don't trace over my bee. I think I want mine to slant just a little bit, so that's where I'm bringing them over. And I'm just going to trace over these, try to get the color in the most of it so I can get the detail of it, because I kind of like the font. I did the hand, I wrote them in by hand on the other one, but this one I kind of did on the computer, so it'd be a little bit neater. And I found this font that I liked really well. So if you have a chance, comment down below and tell me hello so I know that you are here, that you came to the party. That would be great. I'd love to see who all showed up. And if you have any questions, you certainly can put those in the comments as well. So there I've got mine traced out. So now it's just a matter of filling in the colors. So I'm going to move my tracer over. I'll give you a few seconds there to make sure that you have a chance to get those traced out. I hope y'all had a chance to get the background painted. Like I said, it's not necessary, but it sure helps when you go to paint that. If you had to paint the background in afterwards like I did the first time, it's really really hard, kind of challenging. All right, so then I'm going to get my paints out, and we're going to get ready to paint here. I just want to make sure everybody had a chance to go ahead and get your paints and get your tracer done and paints on. Hi Maggie, hi Chrissy. Good to see you. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead Hopefully you've gotten to that point. I see where my strawberry, I missed just a little bit on my strawberry, but I'm just going to sketch that down a little bit so I don't forget it. So the first thing I started with was, I started with my reds, and I started with painting my watermelon. Now you can use whatever colors you have available. I did use the bright red, and I had a little bit of cranberry. Didn't think I'd ever use that cranberry again, but it works pretty good for this watermelon. Just give that a good shake. Okay. And basically what we're going to do right now, I've just taken about a medium-sized brush. This one actually don't have a number on it, so I can't tell you. Let's see. This is a 14 here, but it doesn't have to be a specific size. It's whatever works for you. And I'm just taking that brush and going to take some of that paint. I'm mixing a little bit of that red with my cranberry, but just to start with. And I'm just going to start. Now if you want to get a smaller brush to go up around the flower there, you can do that. Now this watermelon comes off the edge here, right about underneath that last petal there. So we're going to put that in there. Hi, glad to see you could join me, Maddie. Okay, so just go ahead and paint in here. I'm just going to paint around these petals. I'm trying not to get too much in there, as I can. Into the petals, because you're going to have that white in there. We don't want it to turn pink. Okay. Now you can either paint around, if you want to come around the edge. Now I painted mine yellow. If you want to come around the edge and paint that the rest of the way, you can. If you frame your picture later, you don't really have to worry about it. Let's go ahead and get that painted in there. Now all we're doing is just filling in the paint right now. So just getting in your color there. I'm going to add just a little bit of water to my brush there. If you happen to paint over some of it that you want to paint a different color, and don't worry, what you trace is probably going to show through. See how it kind of shows through that red there, or I painted that over that seed, that it'll show through there. You shouldn't lose your pattern there. Right now, like I said, we're just getting in the color. I just started with the reds, that way they can kind of dry, and then I can go, I'm right-handed, I'm used to my paint being over there on the right. They can dry up pretty good, and then when we go to put the other lighter colors and stuff, they won't bleed into that. And if you're doing the canvas, you might want to make sure that that paint's pretty good in there, because get all those little creases. I hope your guys is excited about painting this as I am. I've been just all day long trying to keep busy until time for the party, because I was just excited about doing it. I know it's not the same as being there, but we'll have that come up in August. We'll have one there that we can do an in-person party. Okay. Now while I got that red on my brush, I'm going to in a little more of that red and less cranberry. I'm gonna get these strawberries, get a coat in there of them. Now I'm getting kind of into the smaller stuff, so I'm gonna switch out. I'm gonna switch out to a smaller brush here. You can use it like a liner brush, or one that's a little bit more like a filbert. It's just a little bit thinner, so you can get down in here between these leaves. Get the edge there. Don't worry if you mess up, go over something, or don't worry. You can always paint over it. That's the nice thing about acrylics. They dry. You can paint over top of them. One little trick, a neat little thing that someone showed me for my paint parties, that paint party headquarters lady that I joined showed me that if you take baby wipes and maybe you get some paint somewhere you don't want it on, you get a drip or something, you take a baby wipe real quick to it and wipe that with it. It'll take that off of there and leave you a good clean canvas. So that was a kind of a neat little trick. Just painting around them blackberries. Get that strawberry painted in. I said, so that's just getting the red in there. Now I'm going to bring in my black, and I'm going to rinse out my brush. But I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of that black and go ahead and paint those seeds on my watermelon. I actually have seeds on the second slice of watermelon there that I painted over and didn't even trace, but I'll get those. We can just pop those in. I know when I saw this picture, I just, just the ideal of it came to me, and I seen some other ideas from the reference photos that I was using, and I just thought this is definitely summer for me. Okay, so I got that black there, and I'm going to put in my seeds over here. I know I have lost my line here. I didn't trace my line in, but I'm just going to lightly bring down that line here. That was for my separation from my first slice of watermelon to the second. And then I'm going to come over here and paint in my other seeds. I got the darker line in there for the slice where we'll put the highlight. You can put as many seeds as you want, or make them big as you want. That's certainly up to you. I'm just going to put about 3 on here, make them a little bit smaller since they're on the side. Put a little more point there. Okay, so we got that part in there. Now with the strawberries, I have that black on my brush here. I'm going to mix it in with some of that red. Let's see how I'm getting that black, and I want a really dark red is what I want. And for this picture, we're saying the light is coming from over here on the right, so everything on the left is going to be a little bit darker. So that's why I'm mixing that. I'm going to come over here on my strawberries, and under the leaves, of course, I'm going to make that a little bit darker. And then I'm going to come over here on the left side here on the bottom and just kind of stripe in some of that dark red. And then the same way on that other overlapping strawberry there. Bring that down. There. And then same way with my cranberry for my watermelon. I'm going to have that a little bit darker on the left side here. Bring this down on my edge. So I'm going to put a little bit of just a little bit of darkness here behind these seeds. A little streak here and there. And then right where I put that dark line, I want to go over that just a little bit. I want it to be more red than black, but then my second line there, you should, if you traced yours, you should have a second line there for that first slice. That's a little bit darker than the than the rest of the watermelon. There we go. And then out here on the edge, other line there, that dark line there, we're going to go ahead and bring that down. There. That's just defining out that watermelon. Let's put a little bit down here at the bottom. This is where your rind meets the flesh of the watermelon. There we go. That's all it is. We just darkened that up a little bit to define the shadows, I guess you'd say, and the lines. Okay. Now while we're still on the reds there, I want to go ahead and I'll give you a second. I'm going to get a drink, but we'll go ahead and get a little bit of white, and we'll go ahead and put the lighter areas in. Go. All right. Let me find my white. There it is. I've slanted my table here for you so you can see better, but I'll end up with drippy paint by the end of the night. Alright. Now you can use your small brush still, or if you got a small flat brush, it works a little better, or a round one, either one, but just going to take a little bit of that white, and we're doing the watermelon we're going to do this section right here. We're going to highlight that. This is highlighting where the watermelon is a slice of watermelon. So we want that right here to be a little bit lighter, and then this one will be lighter too. We're just going to put that in, make it a little bit. So we're going to take a little bit of that white and we'll add it to the pink. Might want to make a little bit more. Paint dries pretty fast too, so the more I guess you mix this, okay. And these are not going to look exactly the same, you know, they always are different. They're always different. Okay, so right where we got the dark line, and then we got this highlighted section right in here. So in between the two dark lines that you put in there for that first piece of watermelon, I'm just kind of lightly going over it. Okay. And then the same thing, we'll do the same thing for the outside of it. We're going to stay a little bit closer to the dark line on the left there. There we go. Okay, something like that. We're just kind of highlight it. You can always add some of that dark back in if you think you get it too dark, or make it a little bit lighter, like I'm adding just a little bit more light to this edge, brighten it up a little bit. There we go. Okay. Okay. And that will highlight your actual watermelon itself. One of the things, you can take just a little bit of that light color. I'm going to add a little bit more of that, the watermelon color back in there. Just a little bit like, kind of dry brush. I'm just going to bring a little bit down in here, not much, just little indications of that in there. And then a little bit up in here. Just kind of smoosh that around a little bit. There. Just to give it a little color. And if you don't think you have enough red in there, you can always add more red, make it a little bit darker. I know on my other painting here I had a little, definitely a little bit darker and more red. I think I did a couple coats, but it was on wood. If you're doing wood especially, you're going to probably need a little bit more paint down around the bottom of that watermelon. Okay, I think that's pretty good there. Okay, and now I'm going to take some of that, more of that red, dark red, not as dark as we had before, but more red. And I want to come in and put a second coat over here on this lighter red of my strawberries. I want to try to get that to look a little more blended in, add a little more paint, cover more of that canvas. I'm going over that dark a little bit, it's just kind of blending it in, and you don't see the brush strokes as much. Let me get that color in there. There we go. There. So basically got your colors in there. Now the light's shining on it a little bit funny here, but hopefully you can see that okay. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the greens. So I'm rinsing my brush out pretty good, try to get that red out. Okay. And for the moment I'm going to set aside. I take another paper plate and I just turn it over top of my other one and just cover it. Kind of keep those paints a little bit wet, or if you have a spray bottle handy, that's a good little trick too. But I go ahead and cover that up, and then that way, let me see, there we go. Kind of keeps them moist and you don't waste all that. I'm going to go ahead and get another little palette, paper plate palette. I'll put a little bit of green on there. You don't need a lot of paint either. This don't take a lot of paint. A little bit of white. Okay. And I'm going to need a touch of black, which I have that on there. A little touch of black in there. Okay. So we're going to come down here and start, we're going to start putting in the rind of the watermelon down here. So we'll start with the darkest color, and again you can take about a medium-sized brush. If you've got one of these angle brushes, those are pretty nice for this kind of stuff too, but either brush will work. But we'll start in here, we'll get the bottom part in. It's going to be like a dark dark green, so that's where I'm going to add some of that black to it. I want a nice dark green, like something like that. And then we're just going to come in here and it comes up to that strawberry. I'm going to skip over this one daisy petal because I don't want to have to repaint and wait for that to dry. I'm going to bring my rind on around to the edge of the palette here, or the edge of the canvas, sorry. There we go. That's the dark layer. And then you can rinse out my brush again. Hopefully you got plenty of water. So we're going to lighten that green. It's still going to be a nice green, so probably just go right into the green. And I'm using that Christmas green color, and I just use the Apple Barrel paints for this. It don't have to be anything fancy. I guess if you're going to do a masterpiece that you're going to sell, you can get something more expensive, that Artex paint or something like that. Then we're going to come in with the next layer of green. It's a little bit lighter, still nice and green. And again, bring it around to the edge of my canvas. And like I said, if you're going to frame this, you wouldn't have to even worry about the edges, but I like to kind of do the edge, and that way if I don't frame it, it's already done. Then we're going to add some white to that green. And we'll go ahead and start at the top, up here right in between those flowers, right at the edge of that red. Bring that down. Work it down here to that green you just put on. I know it looks a little bright at the moment, but we're going to blend it out a little bit. Okay. So we'll get some of that green, the Christmas green in there. The same brush I just had. And then I'm just going to go back in where that green was. Darken that up a little bit. Okay. Now, and then you're going to want to rinse your brush out so that you can get the white on there. This is going to be the fine line. The next step was putting in the white right here. We'll get a nice good edge of white, and then we'll just kind of fade it down into the other green. So pretty much just doing a pure white. I'm going to turn this so I can get it in there. I'm just going to start right here at the edge there. Oops. If I can do a straight line, huh? Here we go. And back around the edge. And then you just kind of very lightly, not real heavy, but very lightly blend that down a little bit. See how that kind of blends in? But you don't want to blend it all the way, but you want a little bit of that in there. There. And it may not look, because of that petal, it may not look quite like a nice smooth rind, but it'll be fine once you get that petal in there. Okay. Now I'm going to use my thinner brush. It's kind of, like I said, a little bit thicker of a liner. We're going to go back into the green, and I'm just going to go in and paint all the greens, green leaves on the daisies and the green leaves on the strawberries, and then we'll come over and get the green over here on the other daisy. And you can start with a really dark green, or you can just do the Christmas green and outline with black, which is what I did with the original. I just outlined it later with black, and I think that's just a little bit easier. And so we're just going to color in our green, our little leaves here in between the daisies. I got some really cool ideas coming up for fall and Halloween, and then of course winter and Christmas time. Got some really cool stencils in today. They're Mandela's, oh, I'm saying that's wrong. It's Mandela's stencils. But anyhow, I got a really cool idea to do something with those. So I can't wait to do that. It's a little early for snow stuff, but that's definitely something I got in mind. And for Halloween, I definitely am going to be doing I haven't decided whether I'm going to do a live party, um, or if I want to do an in-person party. I'm thinking in person might be better and a lot more fun to do the one with it's through my paint party people that I joined with. But anyhow, it's got the little witch standing there looking at the brooms, trying to decide which broom on this cute little fence that she wants to ride. And it's got a cute little black cat sitting down beside there, and it's just really adorable. So I'm pretty excited about it. I want to do that. You have to let me know if you like that, like that idea of doing something like the little witch and the brooms and stuff as an in-person party. Give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see an online party, it would be a paid party that you could either buy a kit to have the supplies go with it, or just pay to have access to the party. Give me the heart sign if you would rather see it online. That'll give me an idea. I really appreciate your help on that. Okay, just painting in the little leaves on the strawberries. Well, nice thing about these little canvases, I can just turn it around as I need it. And when we do the big canvas or the wood palettes at the parties, it's a little bit harder to do that. But I miss our parties, going in-person parties. It was always nice to go around and talk to you girls and see how you're painting and help you as you need it, but walk around the room and enjoy your company. So I miss that. I hope you grabbed a drink to join this party with me. I got some flavored water there. As some of you may know, my sinuses always act up this time of the year, so I'm dealing with that as usual. But so I keep the water around. Okay, put those in. So it's starting to come together here. I got one more green leaf over here I missed. Now, when you guys get done with your paintings here, one thing I really would love if you'd do me the favor and take a picture of your completed painting when you get done and post it here on this page, on this link, on this party. I'd love to be able to see what you guys ended up painting with it. Because everybody, even at our paint parties in person, everybody has a different way of doing things, and things turn out differently for each person, which is something that I love. That's the thing I do love a lot. Some more of the daisy, the stem over here that I have. Get if you have any tracing there later that you didn't cover up with paint, you can always erase that off of there. Or take some background color later and cover it up too. That's good. And missed a petal again. Boy, I missed those. Alright, I'm just gonna put it right in here. If you missed some tracing there, don't worry about it. I did that three or four times now. You just put in what you want there. That's good. Okay. So I think I've got all my green leaves painted here. If you missed one, that's fine, but catch that later. Now you can let them dry, or you can go ahead and just touch that green brush with the green paint on it and touch it in some white. And go ahead and highlight your green if you want. And all I did, I just took some white, mixed it in my brush here. And if you don't like how white if it's not white enough, you can rinse your brush and put more in if you want. But I just basically taken some little stripes to it and highlighting my leaves. Just kind of following the flow of the leaf there. And same way with our strawberries. Just putting a little streak of white on there, give a little highlight. Remember, we'll probably come back in with the black on, trim that out. I think the black just kind of makes it all pop a little bit more. Just kind of fun. And then over here, just a little, not too much. I'm not going to put as much on the one over here, on the, especially under the daisy, because yeah, it's not going to have as much. Okay. That's basically all I've done, is just put a little streak of white on there for a little highlight. Just gives a little bit of pop. And your red has dried pretty good on your strawberries and your watermelon by now. And so I'm just going to go ahead and take that liner brush. I have a little liner brush, and you can use a bigger one, or this is a little bit longer, and then that one's a little bit shorter. I think I might use the shorter one. But I'm going to take that and just put some highlight, just a little bit of highlight on those seeds on the watermelon, just to kind of highlight that a little bit. And we're just going to take some of that white. So I'm going to take some of that there and just put a little bit. And if your paint is not moving very good, just touch it with a little bit of water, not a lot. That'll help it move a little bit more freely. If you get too much, though, it's going to, you know, make a mess on your canvas. You just have to get a paper towel and daub it up real quick. And just a little bit there. And a little bit on those little ones. Just mostly around the bottom part of them is where I put those. Okay. Drink. Okay. On your strawberries there, because we got the seeds in there, and the strawberries have little black seeds, or you can put white if you want, but I like to use black. But also going to take and put a little bit of black around the edges of the strawberries, kind of outline them a little bit, and we'll just outline the leaves too. And then I'll just go in and put my little seeds for my strawberries. I'm going to kind of outline that here. That kind of separates that other strawberry too from the other one. I'm not gonna worry so much about where the blackberry is, because when I put them blackberries in, that's gonna kind of separate those. It'll separate that strawberry out from them. Just outline these leaves here. So my brush, I need a little more water in my paint. That brush isn't moving. Just outlining my leaves a little bit. Make that definition of them. Pop out there a little bit. I'll do it right up here, the ones leaves up here by the watermelon as well. Now outline that those leaves, and then we're just going to go ahead and take and put our little dots in here for the strawberries. Okay, I don't want to. Hopefully, I'm not in your way there. And just put some little dots here and there. Give them a little slide. Make them like a little bit long, oblong. Kind of go with the shape and the shape of the strawberry. And as they get down at the bottom, you want to try to make them a little bit smaller. Same way with the other one. And we'll let those dry before we put a little bit of highlight on the strawberries. I'm just going with the curve of the strawberry. Putting my lines, little dot lines for the seeds there. Just kind of something like that. Okay, just trying to get focus there. I want to make sure it's okay. I hope everybody's summer is treating them well. It's been a hot one, that's for sure. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna get my black on here. I'm gonna go ahead and define my first slice of watermelon a little bit better here with that black. You can do it with a really, with the black and the red if you want, but I want to try to define it a little bit more so you can see it a little bit better. All right. Now on the Next thing here, I wanted to work on these blackberries, and I'm going to go ahead with my black and just trace them out. I added just a touch of water to my black on my brush there so that it'll move a little bit for me. And I'm just going to go around these. Don't get excited if you don't get perfect shapes or anything like that, because you're going to come back in and cover them with some purple anyways, but just want to get kind of define them right now, which way my little blackberries are going. I got two little bunches here. Okay, that's the one side. Mine they're kind of like leaning together. And then over here I have a little stem coming off the one. So get a little bit more on that one. There we go. There. Okay. And I know I pop around a little bit, but I'm trying to do it to where one thing's drying while we're working on the other. That's why I have that black on my brush. I'm going to go ahead and go up here, and I'm going to go ahead and outline my leaves up here, and I actually forgot one up here, so I'm just going to drop that in with my black, and then I'll fill it in with the green. You can always outline them, do the outlining later if you wanted to, and it probably wouldn't hurt at all, because if you had something you wanted to kind of clean up a little bit, trim up a little bit, you could do it with that. Just going ahead and doing it while I have it on my brush. Okay. And I just kind of trim them out. I gotta get that green in that one I missed. Here, a little touch of white to highlight it. I'll give you a minute there. Squeaky chair. So I'm going to take some of my yellow. I used the Sunny Day and also this bright yellow to do my background with. And the Sunny Day is just I don't know, it's just a more pastel looking. Then if you want to make it a little bit darker, like a little bit almost orange, but not orange, like a darker yellow, you can add a little bit of your red to that. It doesn't take much at all. And just add that in there. I just want a really dark, almost like orange color. The other thing is, I don't know if you guys added the brown. I use a little nutmeg brown, or could be just any kind of a light brown, but that kind of works. You can add just a little bit of brown to your yellow as well. That'll darken as well. Okay. And I'm just originally starting out with that dark. I was just going to come in here and try to put, so you can't really see it because of the yellow that I used. So I need to get that really dark. Alright. So I'm putting it in here, just kind of filling in for my bee there. There, you can kind of see that yellow now. And once I put the black in there, that'll pop that out. If you want to make it a little bit more orange color, so it'll show up a little more, you can do that. My bright yellow. Some of that bright yellow in there. That helps. Okay, so just fill that in, and then while I've got that yellow, and then I've got some of that brown on there, and I want this to be a little bit more brown to start with. I'm just going to go up here into the center of the daisy, and around the edges there I want to go ahead and start putting in some of that darker brown. Here, we can fill that in, and we'll come back and highlight it. And then down below here, the same thing. Same thing with this daisy down here. We'll just start with the brown at first. So we'll come back in with some little bit of white and touch of yellow. Put that layers in for that. Okay. So that's all you're doing, is just kind of fill those centers in for those. Rinse the brush out. You can add some of your blue. I've got some light blue, or you can just take some of your darker blue, the bright blue that I have, and add some white to it. So we want a little bit of a light blue color, and you can take your small brush, or if you want to use a bigger one you can, but what we're going for is something kind of like that blue there, and that's going to be the base of our flowers, our dandelions there. We start off with that blue, and then we'll come back in and fill them in with the white. But basically, if you want, you can just kind of outline those with that blue. And you can paint the whole thing blue or just outline it, but I like to just do the whole thing and come back in with the white. Just bring those down. And you're just filling in those petals. This is where, if you had one of them little angle brushes, those are nice for flowers too. You start with that tip and then give them a little push, and they'll give you a nice petal. And these round brushes do good too for that. Just filling in our petals here, the daisies. And you probably know what I'm going to say. When you have that color on, then we'll go ahead and we'll work on doing the wings for the bee. But we'll get the flowers in here first. That's just the first one. And then you got these little petals down on the bottom there as well. And that's where that one, I said that one there by the watermelon, once you get that in, it's going to make your rind look like a rind. It's kind of like laying there with a little curve. And it comes up. You can put more of these in or less. That's totally up to you there. This one has a little curve. And same over here. These are just like little petals that have fallen off their daisies. They got lost in the wind. Kind of tipped up. And come over here and do the daisy petals on this other daisy here. This one at the very top is just kind of like it's leaning in the back. That's why it's shorter than the others. We're curving it a little bit because it's kind of like hanging over. I hope you guys are doing okay there. And don't worry if there's something I miss or you miss, and don't worry or panic because when this is all done, you can go back in and pull up the live video and it'll have a replay. So you can catch the replay, and if there's something you missed or you want to finish on, if you don't get it, you can do that. Okay, and then like I said, well, I got that blue on my brush. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go ahead and paint my little wings in for my bumblebee there. I'm painting in the blue, and then we'll trim them in black, and then we'll hit them with some white to make them not so blue, of course. I'll turn mine around here so I can get that wing. There we go. Alright, so that's the basis of those. We're gonna let those dry. And while we're letting those dry, I'm gonna bring out some of my purple. Now I used a purple pansy. It's kind of hard to find in the store, but you can use. I've got another one here as well. Is purple iris. That one's pretty popular. You can find that one. It's just a little darker purple. That pansy is. And all I'm going to do is just fill in those circles, that I made for the blackberries there, since that black's probably dry pretty good now. Just trying to bring my other brush. Alright. You're not going to see a lot with it, but what will happen is once we put these in, and you can make them a little bigger or smaller, it's up to you, but once you put that color in, we'll come in and we'll just highlight them with some white, and then that'll separate them out and make them pop out, and you'll be able to tell, you know, that there are little blackberries in there. But you do want it to be kind of dark purple. Blackberries are pretty dark. And just filling those in with some purple there. Okay. Just to put some of that purple color in there. That's kind of hard to see, but it just looks so dark in there, doesn't it? Pulling down that camera a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. Alright, so get that in there, and I think I'm gonna definitely let that purple dry. The blue is getting pretty close to being dry, but I think we'll take the black into our bee. And if your black dried up like mine did, you have to put a little more black out. I got the fan going, and it's drying these paints up pretty quick. Alright. Basically, with the black on the bee, it's just we're gonna color in his little head here. It's just a round little head. He's got two little lumps on the side for his eyes, but you don't have to get real definite with that. And then, of course, my brush is messing up, but a little antenna, and then on him we've got his little legs coming out there. Trace out his body. And of course he's got his little black stripes that go around his body there. And then we're going to just trace out the wings. We'll come back in with, like I said later, with the white. Just trace around with that black, you know, on them wings. So. Go. Get his little wings in there. The last thing we'll do is you'll see those little tracks. We'll do those last as well as the lettering. That way we don't rest our hand on it or something. All right. But that trims out him, and then of course gotta let that black dry a little bit. So at this point we could probably go back into our daisies and put the white on them. And a little bit of our highlights on the strawberries a little bit. Okay. So you can grab your small brush again, or what you used for your daisies there. And we're just going to need some white. I'm going to try to bring it over here where I'm not going to get in something else. And then we're just going to go back in, and some of that blue will stay in our petals. That's why I like the edges, and that's why I put that blue down. You want to definitely some of the edging because that's going to separate. And don't worry if you cover it all up with the white, you can always come back in. The blue is just kind of separating your petals for you, so that see if you just kind of put the white in and then leave a little bit of the edge in between. That just kind of separates your petals, and you can always add the blue in if you'd rather. You could have painted them all white and then came with the blue too, so it certainly is up to you. If you didn't want, maybe you did your background a different color, and you could have done yellow daisies or any color you wanted. The yellow wouldn't work too good with my yellow background. It'd blend in. But I guess I should turn that down. Okay. And again, just taking some white over for your daisies. Leave a little bit of that blue, like I said. It's alright if you go into your center of your daisy. It's okay, we can touch that back up too. So I did that a little bit. Just putting some white over the daisy petals. Leave a little bit blue to separate the petals. This is kind of a whimsical painting. It's not real rigid, so you know it's not going to be a realistic fine art. It's more just a fun painting. And then the same way now with the bee, if your blue's dried there, I just took a little bit of white on like one side of the wing there, the left side, just to highlight that wing a little bit and to make it look a little more iridescent instead of solid. And then we'll just keep going with our daisies, get those in. And you're going to be seeing your pictures coming together. You should be seeing a little more, looking more and more coming together. That's why I said don't judge. Don't try to judge it and think about it in the beginning. We always go through the ugly stage. It's the same way with when I carve. I call it the ugly stage. When you first start out, it's rough. It doesn't look anything like what you think it's going to, and you think, oh my gosh, so ugly. But it takes clear almost towards the end before you start seeing the true progress and seeing it come to shape like what you want, and something you'll be happy with, I'm sure. And my petals down here that have fallen down, I'm just going to give them some touches of the white. I think I actually put a little more blue in some area there, but towards the bottom. There we go. That's just kind of filling that, like I said, filling that in. And you leave that blue in on the edges. That gives you a nice separation there for your petals. Okay. And then we're going to take a little bit of white on our brush. I want to rinse that out and dry it off pretty good. But just a little bit of white on your brush. Very little. It's more of a dry brush. Because we're just going to come in and do a couple little pops here or there. Like a little pop streak, or whatever you want to call that, of white on the right side of our strawberry. I guess I want that a little stronger, but and then up here on this left strawberry, the same thing, just a little pop of light, just a little highlight, and then maybe just a slight little like a cast shadow here on the left there Just a little bit of that. Those little tiny touches sometimes can really make a difference. And same thing up here. Up here on our little bee, I'm going to take some of that white. I'm going to hit a little bit of yellow, and we're just going to highlight on his little each little section of his body there. And you can, if you want, you can put a little bit of dot here and there on his head for his little eyes. Okay. So then, like I said, as you've got your white going on your daisy petals, and then we can touch up that center a little bit of our flower there, and we'll go with the dark brown like we had, and maybe a little bit darker around the very edge of the petals, and then we'll come back into the middle with a little bit of yellow, and then the very center some white dots, and then on the other one down here we're going to do the little yellow towards the bottom, and then we'll highlight with the white dots on top. So first we'll get the brown, like I said, the brown. I'm just going to do that nutmeg brown. I'm just going to go and just take a little bit of that really dark stuff around the edges of my daisy center there. Just kind of clean up what I did there. Just little dots here and there, not too much, but then on this one we want to keep that dark a little bit more towards the side and then the bottom, a little bit more on the sides than anything. A little dot here and there. Okay, because that top's going to be light on that daisy. Okay, then we can go back into our yellow. Maybe some of that sunny yellow. And then we're going to put some yellow. And I'm just kind of dabbing it in. A little dot, 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 dab kind of thing in the center. I don't want to cover all that brown. And over here I'm going to do it, but I want to put it a little bit more towards the bottom. And close to that brown. There. Because then we're going to come back in with the white. And clean up my brush a little bit, make sure it's dry, and I'm just going to dab my brush into the white, get some of that white on the tip of my brush, because then I'm just going to dab that white. I'm going to do a little bit of white in the center of this one, not too much. I don't want to take too much of the color away. And then on this one down here, we're just going to do the dabbing on the top. We can go out into that yellow a little bit on the very top. Bring it down. There we go. However much you feel is necessary there, or what you like is fine. Okay. So we've got everything kind of filled in there. And of course you can always take time and tweak it a little bit if there's something you don't like my little rind here on my bottom of my watermelon here is still kind of bugging me, so I'm gonna get me some of that dark black, green and black together, make a dark green. Just gonna edge that out a little bit. Just didn't like it. It's not very smooth. I don't like a lumpy watermelon. I want my watermelon to be smooth. Alright. Just clean that edge up a little bit. Looks a little better. Okay. So now your grapes, they feel pretty, mine feel pretty dry. We've got the daisies in, we've got the leaves in, and the stems and the petals. We've done the little highlights and the seeds and the strawberries, highlights on the seeds and the watermelon. You got our defining lines here, the dark lines in between the slices of the watermelon. And so on the grapes, we just need some white, and I'm gonna use the same brush, and I'm gonna get some white on the end. I do want to spread that in. I don't want it like dopped in a big dot. And basically all we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here and just do some little circle, not the whole part of the blackberry and every little seed or piece of fruit of it. We just want to indicate where these are. So you're just going to come in and this is a little bit smaller than my other ones. So I've got to do a light touch. I'm just going to come in and just start outlining, and most of it will be on the right side, but just doing some highlights with the white so we can put some definition into where our little things of blackberries are. So you can put them on a little bit on the bottom, a little bit on the right, just to indicate where they're at. Just putting those little hoop. It's like a hoop. Okay. And over here on this side, same thing. Just a light little kind of touch. If you get too much white on them from doing it, you can always go back in with a little more of that purple. You could even do a little bit of the purple with white and do another little layer of a highlight in there if you wanted to. Make them pop up a little bit more, but I just wanted to put a little indication using that white just to show that there is some little blackberries there. You could maybe even think they're grapes or something, but they're actually little blackberries. Okay. And my little stem is just black. You can highlight it if you want, or you could just leave it black. I'm going to come in here and just put a little bit on the top. Barely tell I did it. Okay. So, at this point, we're at the point of, we're actually doing pretty good. I hope you're following along okay. If you want to give me a thumbs up, let me know if you're doing okay, or if you're liking it okay. That would be great. Let me know where we're at, how everybody's doing. And we're going to let that dry just a tad, but then we're going to go into the final part of it. Basically is just doing our letter, our sweet summer, and then our little bees tracking, where his flight pattern is. So that you can get a little crazy with. You can make them do little hoops and circles and come from the flower or wherever you want him to have his little flight pattern. That's kind of the fun part. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. I'm going to continue with my small brush, and I'm going to start with the Sweet Summer. And I'm going to go ahead and if you're happy with where you've traced it, if you don't like something, like I said, you can always erase it. If something's not quite the way you want it, you could come with the background color and trim that out. Like up here in my watermelon, I'm going to put a little bit of dark red, mix that black and red again, and I'll trim this very edge up here on there. I want to clean that up a little bit, but I'll do that here in a minute. But I'm going to get my black. And you can do this in black, you can do it in whatever, you can do it in a pretty purple color or whatever color you want. That's totally up to you. So I'm going to get a little bit of water on my brush and get my black moist so where it's going to move for me. Do this lettering here. And like I say, I'm a right-hander, so I'm going to have to turn this so I can get over here and make sure I'm not setting my hand on anything. So I'm going to start at the top and just go over my lettering. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, and you you can add things to it. If you don't like the way it looks, you can always change it, add some swirls to it, extra swirls. Okay. When I try to freehand it, my hand just starts shaking, like I get really nervous or something. I don't like to use stencils a lot, but I've started using them a little bit more, especially like with the letterings and all the welcome signs and stuff. I definitely was using them more for that. So I guess they're not all that bad. They save you a lot of work. And these tracers are nice. I mean, you're still you're still doing it on your own. You're still doing it, but it's a nice hand if you just want to enjoy the painting and not have to stress over, oh, can I draw this or draw the straight line or whatever, which I certainly cannot. The tracers are nice because then you can put those on and trace the pattern on there and paint it and just enjoy it and not worry about it. And then when you're done, if you want to add to it or change something up, you can always do that. That's the really nice part about it. I have to add a little more water to my black. It's not flowing very good. The brush might be a little big. So I hope you're enjoying this. Like I said, I do a lot of paint parties. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but a fair amount of them. Because of some things going on, we've had to cancel some, so that's been kind of really sad. But you're certainly more than welcome to contact me if you wanted to book a party. I do private parties and public parties. Private parties I usually try to keep no less than 8 people. But I enjoy them, and I love seeing what everybody does. So again, when you get done, do me the favor, take a picture of what you did and post it on this live video so that I can see your paintings and other people can see what you did. I'd love to see them. Especially if you've done something different. I know a couple of you on here I know like to do different things, and that always is pretty exciting. Like to see that. Okay, so I've put in my Sweet Summer, and if I'm happy with it, I can leave it like it is, or if I want to add something to it, I could. But I think I'm fine with it. I thought about adding some extra little swirls to the S's and stuff, but I think they're fine. But so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put in my little flight pattern for my bumblebee here, and it's just some little dashes, and I just kind of start from where his tail is, and I think maybe he flew over this way, and he got a little sidetracked over here and did a loop-de-loop. That's what I think. Got a little crazy. I like flowers, so that's kind of where I decided mine took his flight. He came off this little daisy over here. So that's what I did for mine. And you can put yours any way you want. Just a lot of fun. Those little bee flight patterns are kind of fun. And if you don't want to do a bumblebee, you could put in something else. A little butterfly would be really cute, or a little ladybug down there somewhere on the daisy or something would have been cute, sitting on top of that daisy. That would have been kind of cute. Anything summery. And then I wanted to trim up that watermelon over here on the edge, so got a little bit of that red and black. Dark it, make that nice and dark. Trim it. And then I'll pick this up just where the paint just kind of didn't go in the grooves very good, and I went off that edge, didn't go very good, so I'm going to trim it out. Bring it on over here on the back side. A little bit of water, so it's spreading very good. Add just a touch of water if it's not spreading or not flowing very nice for you. That'll help. There we go. Okay. All right. Now, this is where one of those group live paintings in Zoom or something like that, where we could all see each other, would be great. Because then I could see what you're doing already. If I needed to slow down or speed up. But anyhow, this is pretty much, we pretty much have a finished painting. Like I said, you can add to, change to, detail out more, you know, whatever you want to do. You want to put some shadows underneath the petals to make it look like they're laying there, you could do that. But I'm pretty happy just the way it is. I'd love, like I said, I'd love to see yours. Take a picture of yours. I definitely want to see that, and you know, give me a little wow if you enjoyed the party, and certainly give me any comments of any suggestions or anything that come up through the party that you'd like to see or something. That I'd love to see that. Love to see your feedback. That always helps out. And then again, like I said, if you, I love doing the paint parties. I'll do on-site private parties and public parties. It's a lot of fun, and that's, you know, definitely what I enjoy. So any ideas and things like that, and keep watching my page, and I'm going to have some different things coming up. Like I said, I'll be painting and some different parties. And one of the things I was telling you about, like with the kits, if I do a live party that is an actual paid party or something that I might sell kits for, or for example, the paint party on August 8th that I'm having, it's at Eagle Sticks, and we're doing the trucks, the vintage red trucks with the pumpkins or the Christmas tree add-ons that you can slide into the truck. Those actually can be bought as a kit as well. So if you can't make the party, maybe you just don't feel comfortable coming out to the party yet, you can buy the kit, and locally I'll set up a date where you can pick up your kit. I'll meet somewhere locally and you can pick it up. Or if you want it shipped, I can certainly do a shipping. There'll be a fee for it, of course, but we can do the shipping for local areas. It's mainly just local in, you know, around the Zanesville area, Newark, and, you know, stuff like that's fine. But I really don't want to be shipping out of state. This is really more for our local. I would like to do stuff for you guys to have more fun with. So you'll see some more kits coming up too, like to do some summer camp kits for the kids, some smaller canvas stuff and things that they can do that's a little bit easier and less costly as well, so that they can have some fun this summer as well. So definitely, you know, let me know what you thought, and definitely leave some comments, and any questions, feel free to message me anytime on my page for, you know, any questions or anything else that comes up. And definitely, I definitely want to see you again at one of the parties. That would be great. And I happen to, now I see the comment, they pop up, there's a little delay there. The template was actually on my page, the Chillin page, and it was posted on there on the live event as well. But I posted it there in the discussion, so you should be able to see that on my page, Chillin with Amy, and pull that template off. Basically, just it's a picture. You copy it, save it, print it off, and if you want to print it for 8 by 10, like I said, just choose to print it as a photo size of 8 by 10, so it'll be a little smaller, or you can adjust that. There's the template is it's something you can use if you miss something, maybe you didn't find it in the beginning. Go ahead, and when this is over, it'll be in replay, and you can pull it back up and watch as many times as you want. Probably leave it on there for a couple months, so it'll be available for anybody that wants to do it, or if you want to do it again. Maybe you missed it altogether and you want a friend to do it with you, you're welcome to use that and do it again. So I hope you had fun, enjoyed it, and like I said, let me know what you think. And I will see you all again, hopefully real soon. Talk to you later.